doing this darkened hairline around this future cavity that's going to receive the baking soda crazy glue trick. You don't have to do a lot. You just need one line of hair around this thing, and that will show up through the baking soda because you're going to cover the whole thing. But the hairline that you put on this thing will show through the baking soda and give it an illusion of fuzziness and individuality. Go quite deep with your initial hair. Use your entire micro saw if you've figured out how to make one. Eventually I will show you how to do that, but not yet. As I said before, that stuff you guys are going to have to pay for. There we go on the other side. And you want this angle on this side, you want this opposite 180 degrees out on the other side. This is a beaded tool that you can get. It's Dremel, and they're a little expensive, but they're awesome little tools. These things are titanium and titanium nibbed, and they're bad to the bone. You can heat them up and burn them out just like the other ones, and these are great little tools. You want to come up to and just touch that. You want to leave a lot of that. So just come up to it and just touch it straight up and down your channel. All right, I've got this channeled out. I've done this one on this side already. That's how it's going to turn out. You see that black right through? That's what this is on the outside of this. You get your hairs going the way you want them. So when you intersect your hair, put your hair on the rest of it, then this appears to disappear within the white, and it gives you a shadowing that's really cool. So what we're going to do now is get this level as you can. And you want to put just a little bit of glue in the bottom of this thing. Take your tip and move it around. You just want a layering. You don't want a big puddle. A little bit of puddle in the very ends, maybe, just like that. And then you take your sifter. What I've done here is I took a paper towel and put on there, and I put just a little hole that the siftings can come through. That way you're not wasting it and causing a big trouble. Not that it's expensive, but it's you don't want to get it all over. So you got a lot more control by doing it this way. And just tap that a little bit with your finger, tap it, and then blow all the excess out of there. You can use a little brush to move it around to knock it out, but then you just want a thin layer. Thin layer. Can't stress that enough. And if you get a little bit too much in there, like I just did, just tap a couple times. A little bit, and just wait. Just wait for like 15 seconds, and that'll start to react with that crazy glue. You can actually see it change right in front of your eyes, and that's you want to go slowly. You want the granules to sink from the top of that CA or crazy glue down to the bottom, super glue, whatever you want to call it, CA, and you want that to go all the way down to the bottom. Well, that's already hardened up. What you can do, though, just take a little implement like a screw and check in your corners. See that? I got too much puddling in those ends until they catch up with the same level it's supposed to be. So just push that down and make that CA come to the top. You want to do the entire area Make sure you got all that CA bubble out from underneath of that layering of baking soda. Because it'll look really odd otherwise. It'll have a weird spot in your CA and your coating in the end. And just wait a second. Blow out your excess. Take a little brush to that. Just take a little brush and make sure it's out of there. Another layer. Start out in the center and push it to each end with that little tiny amount you got in there. Use the tip for a device to move the CA around. And then just a light layer. Wait a second. Just like 10 seconds. That's all it takes. Let those granules sink to the bottom. A little bit more. Sink to the bottom. All right. There's not a lot of fumes that comes off in this stuff when you do it. It's not like if you mix it up with wood dust. Wood dust, it literally will smoke. It will smoke coming. There'll be a trail of smoke coming off from it. This stuff, if you get a huge pile and get it just right, there'll be a little tiny bit of a amount of smoke that comes off from it. You want your vacuum system close nearby, suck off any fumes, any particulates that go airborne. Baking soda is heavy though. It's a granule. So it'll sink to the bottom anyway. Take and check. Make sure you're not, yep, see that? Just putting too much on it. That's a sign of getting overzealous. This side's pretty good. A little bit in there. Okay, fill both of these cavities up now. And what you're going to do now, hopefully the sandpaper on here is good. Take your little barrel sander, put your vacuum in there, turn your speed down, dummy. There we go. And what I've done is build this up above the level of the wood. And the entire surface is built up above it. So now you take and either sand it back or grind it back, either one. Sanding it back is probably preferable because if you grind it, you can take too much. And I want these black lines in there I showed you earlier to remain. So you got a lot more control over the end result by sanding it off instead of using a tool to cut it off or grind it off. I'm going to sand this all down. Just be mindful. You see that black starting to appear now. That will outline the white of the baking soda and make it come out even brighter in the long run. Doesn't look terribly white right now, but when you cut the hair in it with the micro saw, then it changes and it gets whiter as you put the hair in.